In 10 years, your retirement savings could be worth half of what they're worth right now. Not because of some crazy stock market crash, not because of some doom and gloom scenario, but because those in power have set in motion a silent wealth transfer in the United States. The middle class is being quietly bankrupted through a process most people don't even understand. Currency debasement. I promise to you is that by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how this works, why it's accelerating, and most importantly, the specific steps you can take now to protect and even grow your wealth, while unfortunately a lot of other people will lose. My name is Felix Prehn. I'm an ex-investment banker. I'm also the co-founder of TradeVision, where we make amazing news and analytics available to you that Wall Street Journal has access to. And I'm also the founder of Goat Academy, where we've taught 20,000 people already. And I'm dedicating my retirement to actually bring financial education to people, because it's a scandal we haven't got any, and I'm in a very fortunate place to pass on the wisdom from those who've taught me. So my job isn't to make you panic. It's to give you the truth the financial industry doesn't necessarily want you to see. Because while most financial advisors are still recommending the same old, 60-40 portfolio, I'm going to show you what actually survives when currencies fail. And that's probably not what you think. Let me tell you about the most successful currency manipulation in history and why it's happening in America right now. Call it the Roman Playbook. The Roman Empire had the world's reserve currency for 400 years. It was called the silver denarius. Now, the genius part is that they didn't announce they were devaluing it. Instead, they slowly reduced the silver content from 95% to just 2%. Sound familiar? Since 1971, when Nixon took the US off the gold standard, the dollar has lost over 85% of its purchasing power. But here is what's different now. The pace is accelerating. In the last 4 years alone, more dollars have been printed than existed in the entire US money supply just a few years earlier. Every dollar printed dilutes the value of every other dollar you own. It's basic maths. Now, before we go much deeper into how this is going to affect your investments and the smart moves to take, if you are already in a place where you are a serious investor and you actually just want to learn the exact system that Wall Street uses, and Wall Street taught me on how we find better stocks, how we manage our investments in a smarter way, just like the big guys do on Wall Street, then join me and sign up for a live free training where I will teach you for an hour and a half live, you and me and a couple of thousand people, at felixprehn.org/training, and grab yourself a free seat. The link to that is down below in the description, and make sure you're on time because these rooms fill up, even virtual ones. Now, let me introduce you to what I call the modern collapse playbook. Most Americans think currency collapse is something that happens, over there, Venezuela, Zimbabwe, Turkey, banana republics. But in March 2023, we got a preview of what happens when the confidence breaks. Do you remember Silicon Valley Bank? That wasn't some small town community bank. It was the 16th largest bank in America. In 48 hours, it went from everything is fine to complete collapse. $42 billion in deposits fled in a single day, the fastest bank run in American history. And here is what scared me as someone who understands the system. It wasn't isolated. Credit Suisse collapsed the same month. First Republic Bank failed weeks later. When trust breaks, it spreads like wildfire. If you want to see what happens to people in a country when the system breaks, look at Lebanon. In 2019, Lebanese doctors, teachers, and engineers woke up to find their banks locked. Life savings accumulated for 30 to 40 years, gone. Not stolen, not invested badly, just frozen indefinitely. The Lebanese pound, their currency, lost 95% of its value. A lifetime of savings became worthless paper. I'm not suggesting the US dollar is going to lose 95% of its value overnight, but over a longer period of time, yes, because since Nixon, it's already lost 85%. So it can lose 95%. But what the history books don't teach you is that currency collapse isn't destruction of wealth, it's transfer of wealth. Wealth doesn't disappear. It just goes from those who trusted the system to those who prepared for its failure. So what actually holds value when paper money like the dollar would fail? Well, let me break it down for American investors. Number one, hard assets. Things you can touch, use, and can't be printed or digitally manipulated. Real estate in strategic locations has survived every currency crisis in history. But not all real estate is equal. You want a productive land, you want rental properties in stable areas, or real estate that actually produces income. Or precious metals. Gold and silver has been money for 5,000 years. Not because they're shiny, they are very shiny, but because they're scarce, portable, and no government can just print more. And then second, you have productive assets. Something people need. And that would be your quality stock. I read dividend-paying stocks here as a sort of catch-all of a lot of the quality stocks tend to pay dividends. So things like utilities, food production, healthcare, they continue to be needed. Those companies own real assets and they generate real cash flow, even if that cash flow is in the devalued dollar. And then number three, skills and relationships. And that might surprise you, but your skills and your relationships become incredibly valuable. In every economic crisis, the people who can solve problems, fix things, or provide essential services that come out ahead. So what does the American Investor's Action Plan actually look like? Well, let me give you a practical roadmap. This isn't about becoming a prepper or going off-grid, although they're not insane ideas. This is a smart portfolio diversification for uncertain times. And if you don't think we live in uncertain times, well, we have a government that's pumping the market. We have a country that's basically running on debt that we can't afford. And we've got all sorts of crazy stuff going on around the world. And we have probably the biggest technology shift the world's ever seen with AI happening right under our noses. So if you want an action plan for that and whatever might happen, first is, well, what's your dollar exposure? If 100% of your wealth is in dollars or dollar-denominated assets, well, you might want to think about that. Now, if you're an American and you earn dollars and you spend in dollars, the old wisdom of low risk would be just to have everything in dollars. But it is a very concentrated bet on one currency. You could start building, and that's what I would look into, a small position of precious metals. So physical gold, silver, or ETFs, less ideal, but still better than nothing. And you can buy this, from most banks or gold dealers or so on. The one thing I would do, obviously, do some research on where it's going to be cheapest. Ask AI. Yeah, it'll actually tell you, weirdly. It knows everything. Soon it'll really know everything. And then you might want to get some exposure to commodity-related stocks. And we've been doing that for months now. Gold miners. At the moment, we're looking at diversified metal miners. We've been in silver and in other companies. Because those companies, well, they make more money if the underlying commodity goes up. A lot more money. And they own real assets. And then I'd focus on, and that's step number 4, because it takes a little bit more capital, cash flowing real estate. So rental properties are better than buying a vacation home by the coast. Well, unless you can let that out, which you might be able to with Airbnb or something like that. Obviously look into the regulation and what your neighbors are going to say about that. Now, a lot of people will tell you, go and buy some foreign currencies. Well, you're then taking risk on that foreign currency that you don't understand. So I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't bother holding euros or Swiss francs or any other monkey money out there, especially if you live in the US and you earn dollars and you spend dollars. What you could do is you could build up some Bitcoin exposure, which would again give you another leg that's separate from pretty much everything we're talking about just above. But there is a big, beautiful, shiny opportunity. I think we're going to make more money in the next 18 months than at any time in history in the market. That's seriously how bullish I am on what's going on out there, if you know where to put the money. Because this is about wealth transfer, not wealth destruction. Those with money want to have a lot more money. That's what's driving this ultimately. If you look at the 1970s crisis, who made money? Gold owners, oil stock investors, real estate investors. Cash, fearful people who are going to wait for the perfect opportunity to invest, they get like steamrolled over. Not a good place to be. You do not want to be in cash, in my opinion. And take this time and take this uncertainty to actually improve your own skill set. Your true power lies within yourself. And most people wake up in the morning and they go, oh, this is happening, the economy is bad, or there's a recession, or government did this, or whatever. That means you're giving power to others. Take it back. Make yourself responsible for where you are. Make yourself responsible for where you're going. And if you do that, it becomes really freaking powerful. A little scary at first, which is why you're going to want to get some skills around money. And that's what we're going to give you if you join us at felixprehn.org/training and learn from people. YouTube's a marvelous resource. Try to dig a little bit deeper than that if you can, because a lot of the stuff, of course, is quite surface level here, because it's just the nature of the beast. But look, I'm not trying to scare you into buying gold or hiding money under the mattress, anything like that. I'm never sponsored by anybody, any stocks or miners or anything like that. We never do that in this community here. But most people are ignoring the currency risk. And the biggest risk isn't that the dollar will collapse overnight, is that it'll continue losing value slowly while you do nothing. So inflation is really just currency debasement in slow motion, and it's accelerated. But you're not powerless. Every single strategy I've discussed here today is available to every single regular American investor, even international investors. You don't need millions of dollars or special connections. You just need to actually act. If you want to learn the specific system that I use to find companies, find the gold miners, find the precious metal companies, find the quality companies that'll weather all storms, then come and join me at felixprehn.org/training, because your financial future is just too important to leave it up to chance or to trust blindly in promises that, well, history just shows promises get broken. So you are in charge, my friend. If you got some value out of this video, share it with other people. You might get some value out of it too. And I wish you all the best. If you hold any dollar assets, your savings, your 401ks, your bonds, what I'm about to reveal could either protect your wealth or leave you financially devastated. A Russian economic advisor just exposed what he claims is America's secret plan to eliminate $37 trillion in debt overnight.